Greetings, students, and welcome to another fun-filled day here at
Horror in the Halls.
What's up, kids, and welcome to Horror in the Halls. I'm Bob, aka Mr. Holland.
And I'm Jenny, aka Mrs. Hill.
And we're just two high school teachers talking about the spooky stuff we love. This month's lesson plan has us focusing on strong females, either behind the camera or in front of it. And to start us off in this week's lesson, we make every death count as we discuss 2017's Happy Death Day. Jeez. All right. So yeah, I love this movie.
It was good.
It's one of my favorites. I think it's silly. Like, as a new horror film, though, I just think it's good.
It was good. I hated her at the beginning, but she grew on me a little bit. It took her a minute.
She has a good, like, redemption arc, I think, through the whole story.
Yeah. It just took her getting murdered a million times for her to figure out that she's an absolute jerk.
Yeah, dude, like a gang of times.
Like when are you going to realize that you suck?
There's like 20 deaths in this movie, and I'm pretty sure 10 of them are Tree.
And why is her name Tree? But that's just, never mind.
That's just what her nickname is. I don't know. All right,
is it a nickname?
Yeah, her name's Teresa.
Oh, okay.
Her name is not actually Tree. Yeah, they just call her
I was like, why is her name Tree?
No, yeah. Her name is Teresa.
I missed that. Okay.
All right, let's get into the deets, and then we'll talk all about it. Released October 13th, 2017. Runtime 96 minutes. It's directed by Christopher Landon, who is the son of Michael Landon from Little House on the Prairie, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because that Little House on the Prairie seems so long ago, in my brain, that dude is like 200 years old. But I guess not.
He's not.
I know, like, he died in like 91, and he was only 50 when he died. So I'm like, holy crap, dude. My brain, Michael Landon was like in like the 40s or something. I don't know what it was. He was a pretty prolific screenwriter. He wrote Disturbia, and I want to say most of the Paranormal Activity series, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
His directorial debut was a movie called Burning Palms. It's like a thriller, kind of satirical thriller. He directed Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones, which is a spinoff. He directed Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, which is actually fairly good. Happy Death Day 1 and 2, and then Freaky, which I also really enjoy.
Interesting. I haven't seen it, most of those.
Yeah, no, like, well, I won't watch any Paranormal Activities because I just don't like them. Scout's Guide was pretty good. We watched it. I was before I knew it was by the same guy, though. It was just something that popped up and the cover looked interesting. I'm like, I'll watch that. It's like Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. Okay, that seems weird. It was pretty decent. And then we watched this. I love these. And then Freaky I just liked it. I like Vince Vaughn. I don't know why, but I was in for it. Fun thing about this movie, it was originally written by Scott Lobdell, who was a comic writer. And based on everything I've read, I'm really glad that it was redone by him. So he actually rewrote and directed this film.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, he's written quite a few things. I think he wrote Paranormal Activity 2, 3, and 4. He rewrote Paranormal Activity, or he wrote The Marked Ones, and then Next of Kin. It was a Blumhouse production, of course, because he used his connections at Blumhouse after doing Paranormal Activity to get this made, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Blumhouse does everything, it seems like, so you might as well throw a little money at him.
Right.
Cinematography was done by Toby Oliver, and that dude, he's Australian. He's done a lot of Australian work, like Wolf Creek 2, but then he also did Get Out, which is awesome. And then he did Day Shift for Netflix, which I really like that movie. It's like this vampire movie.
Day Shift.
Yeah, it was solid. Good. It's the same cinematographer. And now that I know, like, doing this research, I can kind of see some of his eye in both films, so that's pretty cool. The budget for this movie was only $4.8 million, but it made $125.5 million.
Dang,
that's what I'm saying. Like, come on, dog. You made $120 million essentially of just straight profit.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know.
$4.8
million is a lot of money. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I turned $4.80 into $125, I'd be like, yeah, because that's about the realm I live in as a teacher.
Yep, same.
There's no millions after my 4.8. I have $4.8. I used to have $125.5, and now it is gone.
Right.
I had bills and dinner and whatnot. 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, 67 audience score, which pretty makes sense. 3.1 on Letterboxd. Solid cast, plot. We've kind of seen it before, but I think they did a good job of kind of keeping it fresh a little bit.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I will give him this. I did not see the killer coming. Because normally I can pick it out and I get really aggravated when I figure it out quickly.
yeah.
And I did not.
Yeah, I think he did a good job in the rewrite of making you think like multiple people were going to be the killer.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it's that person. Dang.
yeah. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get there yet. But like at the end, I was like, there's no way that's who it is. There's
Yeah.
no way. And I mean, but I didn't see that killer coming for real. So,
Oh, well, that was pretty cool.
mhm.
So we got Jessica Roth as Teresa Tree Geldman, Israel Broussard as Carter, Ruby Modine as Lori Spangler. Of course, her name comes from Egon.
Mhm.
As this movie has some obviously heavy influences from Groundhog Day, and he directed that. Charles Atkin is Gregory Butler. Laura Clifton is Stephanie Butler, which I kind of feel bad for her. Let's see who else is in here that's important. Rachel Matthews is Danielle. She sucks, but she's the
Oh my
director's
God.
niece. It was her first film. She did a pretty good
Well,
job being her first movie.
she did a good job being the worst bitch ever.
I know, right?
I was like, I can't stand her at all. Her or Tree. I was like, I hate you both.
She was a very good job. I know. I was like, way to go. Being
Yeah.
a horrible, horrible human being.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations, you were terrible. But yeah, it was her first movie. Of course, there's some other people in here.
Did you say who played Gregory?
Yeah, it's Charles Aitken. It's Aitken. I'm guessing that's
Okay, I
Aitken.
didn't.
Yeah,
okay.
and then
I glitched after you said Danielle, so
yeah. Well, I said them beforehand. Danielle came after.
I know, but I glitched. I told you.
Like,
Oh
and
Lord.
then you got Rob Mello as John Toombs. That pretty much wraps up like the main kind of cast. Other than you got Ryan Fan, the roommate. He was really funny. Mr. Fine the John. He made me laugh every time he says that.
Fine vagina.
And he's like, God, way to be a dick. It's like, that's funny. But no, like, I love this movie, man. Even with like the obvious Groundhog Day influence or like the 1201 influence, which is really came out like the exact same time as Groundhog Day. They were both 93, but of course it got way overshadowed by Bill Murray. You know what I mean? Because it's Bill Murray. But yeah, I think it's a cool case. I liked all the repeat, and I really enjoy the character development in this. Like, I think that's kind of why I picked it for this month, because she starts off as the bad guy and the good guy, or becomes the good guy, and the original writer, that was his intent. He wanted her to be like the mean girl. He says, like, he commented one time, he wanted to play with the tropes of the slasher genre, as according to him, every slasher film opens up with the mean girl getting killed and the good girl living to the end. Like in Halloween, you have kind of the slutty, annoying girl gets murdered, and then the little girl, goody two shoes, lives. And he wanted to, how can I make the mean girl and the good girl the same person? So that was kind of the idea behind Tree's character.
Yeah, because she was the worst. I like when I write down the characters, I like try to give them identifiers just in case I forget. And hers says the worst human. So I was like, I could not stand her. I'm like, God, I'm glad she just keeps dying. She deserves it.
I think it's funny because she knows it too. Like when she's like, when they're trying to come up with suspects, and she's like, oh, that Uber driver I spit on, he gives her a look. She's like, what? Nobody's perfect. Like, you're horrid. You're not even remotely close to okay. You just suck at everything. But like I said, she has a great, I think, redemption arc, and you get to see her become like a strong female, which is kind of cool, which is kind of why I applaud this movie. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it was really interesting how she does stuff. I will say
she was the jerk, but it took me a little bit to start liking her. I started liking her more when they got to the Pleasure Dome.
Oh yeah. And she's like, oh my God.
I was like, I love that part so much. But I also said she deserved to get murdered in the Pleasure Dome. So.
Yeah. No, I was writing it down. Like, the movie, it starts off, and her first death scene, of course. So we'll start out here with my roll call of death.
Okay.
Her first death scene. You're going in like a rape tunnel. Like, why are you walking through that tunnel in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I mentioned that. I was like, why would you walk through a public campus alone? First of all, I'm not saying this to be this person, but like, you're dressed for a party and you're alone. It's dark out, it's creepy, and then she gets down to that tunnel and it's like a construction zone almost.
Yeah.
And there's a music box, and I'm like, what the hell is this music box for? And it's like it's like a birthday song, and I was like, that's when I would have turned around and walked away. But no, she had to go and inspect. I was like, that was stupid.
Yeah. My notes specifically say, why are we in the rape tunnel? Because that's where she goes. I'm like, why? And then she does it again. I'm like, what are you doing? So in case you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. but it's about a girl who gets caught in a death loop, essentially, over and over and over again on her birthday. And there was kind of a little thing because in the trailer they use 50 Cent's In the Club, but they couldn't get the rights to it for the film, so they had to change her little ringtone. That's why they made up that "It's your birthday, go
Yeah.
ahead and pick up the phone," like over and over again. And then she comments about, "Oh, was it you that changed my ringtone?" Because her ringtone was supposed to be 50 Cent,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
which is silly. I wish it was that song. Like, they've been funny.
I don't know. I thought the annoying ringtone was hilarious. Like, what
Oh,
in the
100%.
hell?
It was so obnoxious.
It was.
You're like, ugh. I
I
almost
did like
want to
that
download
part.
it as like a wake up. Oh, shut up! Like it's one of those like I don't want to get up and fight because
Oh
it's
God,
aggravating.
yeah. Nobody wants to get up to that. It's freaking annoying. I should just do it just to get on to wake Johnny up because he's got like 20 alarms, and I'm like, just get up to one, and he literally does have like 6 or 7. I feel like, and I'm like, that's a lot. Just
Yeah,
get up.
it's
But
hard,
I'm a
man.
psychopath, and I get up to one, so
It's hard out here for us sleepy people.
I'm sleepy.
Apparently not. You wake up to one ringtone. I gotta have at least 2, and I'm snoozing for it like a champ. I think Aaron has like 9, and it's like Crazy Train or something. It's like, turn your phone off.
That's too many.
I know. I'm like, why are you so tired? I don't understand. It's crazy.
Oh no.
But no,
Okay.
like back to my earlier thing about the original writer, I'm actually really glad that it did not work because apparently it was written originally in 2007 and it was
Oh.
going to star Megan Fox and be produced by Michael Bay, and it would
Oh.
not have been good at all.
No. Absolutely not.
Because, like, let's be honest, she sucks. Like,
She's not good.
she's pretty, period. Like,
I was like,
that's
what
it.
else?
Yeah, no,
Was you
period.
gonna say? Are you gonna finish that sentence?
No, that
She's
was on purpose.
pretty.
Period. She can't act at all, man. Like at all. Like everyone like gives so
Yeah.
much credit to Jennifer's body. Like you just walked around looking like Megan Fox. You didn't do anything.
I've never watched that.
Don't. It's a waste of time.
I don't have any desire to watch it.
Here
Honestly,
recently,
didn't have the desire to watch this movie because I was like, I hated Groundhog Day. I hated it. I'm like, God, just the thought of just watching this over and over again. I did not like Groundhog Day. I hated that movie so much.
Oh, I don't know if we'll be friends anymore.
Oh, whatever. Shut up.
I'm so offended.
Well, you can be offended, sir. I do not like it. I can't stand the whole repeat crap. But this one wasn't as bad, and it got funnier. To me, this one was funnier.
It probably helped they did, and they try to recreate because Groundhog Day does that as well, where a couple of days go to really fast. But I liked how they did those with these, like those goofy deaths and like her walking out naked and stuff. And all,
Oh
like,
my
the funny
God,
things.
that was so good. I was like, is she freaking stark naked? She sure is.
You want to know an actual true fact is she's legitimately completely naked, and that is an actual college campus. Like they had to have the staff going out there pushing onlookers with cameras away because people were trying to record her. But she said, like,
Oh
I had
my
the option to
gosh.
cover myself, but all the female crew were really supportive and like really like good job for doing this and being brave enough to do it. So she was like, fine, I did it, and just walks out totally naked. And the
And
crew's
her
out
look
there.
on her face was so good. She was like, I don't give a fuck because no one's going to remember this tomorrow because I'm going to die.
I like the whole 2 fingers at everybody, and she's just real into like, hey. I'm like, that's awesome. But yeah, no, like that was a really cool scene too, how they did all those over and over and over again. And yeah, I kind of gave props to those people doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. Right? Apparently at one point the sprinklers malfunctioned, it wouldn't go off. So it took them like an hour to turn them off. They lost an hour of filming because the sprinklers just wouldn't go off. So the ground was like completely soaked.
Oh my gosh.
Those poor couples sitting there trying to make out or just getting their butts wet, taking those scenes. But that was pretty cool. The way they did that, that was interesting. But yeah, she said it was liberating to do that scene, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I can see that. That was so funny though. I mentioned that. I'm like, she legit does the walk of shame.
Yeah. So many times.
She does, but that one was epic.
Yeah.
She was naked.
There was no shame for her that time. She's just like, hey, that's right. That's right.
She was like, yeah.
Just walking.
Oh.
But no, like there's not a single thing about this movie that I don't like, really.
I don't know. I just didn't like her at the beginning, but I liked, like you said, I know that, but
Yeah.
like that was my first complaint. I was like, son of a bitch, she's so hateful. And then I felt sorry for Lori, which I shouldn't have. But there were so many funny parts with her. I like the camera shot too of like when she gets hit or like across her head with a bat, and it shows her falling back onto the pillow and then
Yeah.
waking back up.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool. I like that was the one like you were talking, like they kept going back and forth between, or they kept going like speeding through.
Yeah.
And that was like where it kind of started, like, or was in the middle of that where it kept showing her getting killed in stupid ways.
Those were awesome transitions, though. I do really, really like those.
Yeah.
It had some great camera work in it, man. Like some really good stuff that
Mhm.
was interesting. There's some good story elements. I don't think Lori fit at all. Like she should not have even have been there. Like when I first saw her, I'm like, why are you in this sorority?
Well, they even mentioned that. Danielle mentions that at one point. She's like, because she doesn't go to any of the parties. And then Tree was trying to actually defend her at one point. And she was like, well, I know she took up on a double shift at the hospital, which now makes more sense
Yeah,
of why she was doing that. So like I think they didn't want her to, but she had goals, but it wasn't the goals you thought she had. Like
Yeah,
I thought
no.
it were just like career goals. No.
No,
That's
no.
not what her goals were.
She had schemes and plots and whatnot
Yeah, she did.
from
Like,
Jump
oh, it
Street.
makes more sense now.
I know. At the end, you're like,
So,
what a bee.
right?
Tree was kind of nice to you. You suck. That just
Well,
goes
she
to show,
wasn't at
though.
first.
Yeah, I know. It probably every day before that day, Tree probably sucked to her, just like Danielle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, why are you in my room? Get out of here.
Yeah,
This is
Danielle was the
terrible.
worst. Danielle deserved to get the chocolate milk on top of her head in that last
I
part.
know, 100%.
I
I like
was
that.
like,
I like that one of the deaths is her because Tree is beating the shit out of her in the streets, and they both get hit by a bus. I'm like,
oh, I know. That was so good.
it was so great.
She was like, it was you. I was like, no, it wasn't.
No, but she
So
thought it
good.
was, wasn't she? She's like, I'm gonna what? Like, yeah. Like I like in the first, let's see, the first 7 deaths of this movie are almost all Tree. So Tree gets stabbed in the head with a knife, and then Nick gets stabbed at least 8 times with a knife. It might be 7 to 9 somewhere, so we're just averaging 8. Then Tree gets stabbed with a broken bong. Then she gets stabbed again with a knife through the door. She gets stabbed in the gut when she's peeping out her little stalker boyfriend who's really gay, which I think is really funny.
That is so super funny. And she was like, "Oh yeah," like she was like,
Yeah.
it's like dawned on her. That's what.
Yeah.
And she was like, and she was like happy for him, kind of.
All
I was like,
jazzed.
what's happening?
Apparently, that punchline she says to him with "Who takes their first date to Subway? It's not like you have a foot long" was totally improvised by Jessica Roth. She just made it up on the fly.
It's funny.
Which I'm like, that was pretty good. That was a sick burn. Sick burn.
It's probably something she had to deal with once.
Guarantee it. So it's like all these times is when she's investigating her own murder, right? So she gets stabbed in the gut with a knife. That's after she witnesses him. She turns around, gets drowned in a fountain when she's creeping on the doctor's wife, which I thought was interesting. Like I made a note. I just want to make sure I talked about it. When she goes in that office with that doctor. So for those of you if you've seen it, they're having like this affair. When she kicks that chair under the door, that was some pro level stuff. How she
It was
kicked
like
it and it
those-
rolled and went straight to the door. I was like, no way they did that in
Like-
one shot.
Yeah, it went right underneath the door handle, so it
Yeah.
would like
I was
it would
like,
get
okay,
jammed.
girl, I see you over there, Tree. And she's like camouflaged up, like with pink hair,
That was
looking through the tree with some
with
goggles.
pink hair.
I know. I was like, because that scene was there for no reason. I was just like, why did she die? Oh, okay, Tree. Like,
I think she was just like, I might as well do all the things I want to do and just wing it because I know I'm gonna die at the end of this night anyways.
yeah, I'm gonna do whatever's fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna paint my face camo for no reason and get like some army gear and hide in bushes.
I like when she woke up after a lot of those deaths and she was like, she looked at Carter and she goes, God, your idea sucks.
Yes, he's like, what?
He was like, what are you talking about? She's like, whatever.
And like every time, I like when he's like, have you been here before? She's like, give me the Tylenol. It's over there under the clothes. He's just like, yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah, he just goes along with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's
He's just
happening?
a good dude. Like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's the best. And then
I liked Carter a lot.
he was a good dude.
Yeah,
And then
he was.
she dies a 6th time with the bus, and that's when Danielle dies. Danielle's the first death other than Nick. And so like The first 7 deaths, 6 of them are Tree, multiple
It's
times.
crazy.
And then she gets hit again. Well, hold up. I think Becky gets hit first in the head with the baseball bat. And then Tree gets hit in the baseball bat again. That's that scene you were talking about where she just falls and
Yeah.
sets up. I liked how some of the deaths, like when the fountain one, she wakes up and spits out water, like she's vomiting. And he's like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, okay. Or there's certain things that she does that are kind of like, okay, I see what's happening there. And this is the one where she actually gets all that trauma. And I guess that was the one thing for me in the film that I was like, what? Because they don't comment on it again where he's like, it looks like you've experienced some severe trauma.
Yeah.
But then
Like,
she's
you should
kind of
be
fine.
dead.
Yeah, your x-rays look rough. And it's like, okay. It was like when I had back surgery, the doctor was like, your back looks like you are a 58-year-old man who's done manual labor your whole life. And I was like 20. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, but then they just kind of gloss
Yeah.
over it. And then finally, I think this is the cool one because, like, you did kind of think maybe it was the doctor or maybe it was this person. And then the doctor gets stabbed. You're like, oh, so it wasn't the doctor. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
He's the next death. Then the police officer gets hit by that car going super fast, which I think is a really cool scene too because it's real sudden and you don't expect it. It's like one of the first main jump scares. Like, oh shit, that guy came out hit on nowhere. And then she gets incinerated in a car explosion, which from a science standpoint, that actually would not happen. A candle is not hot enough to ignite gas. It would just
Yeah,
go out.
the little birthday candle.
Yeah, it would just go out. But it's cool once you know who the killer is at the end. That scene right there gives it away.
Yeah, because of the birthday candle.
Yeah,
Right?
it's the same cupcake. They're like, oh hey, I'm like, you dirty bee. Okay, I see you. And this is the second time I watched it, I went, oh yep, there it is. There's a couple of times where you're like, okay, I see who it is. And then we got a security guard gets stabbed in the back with a knife. There's a lot of backstabs here. Hospital receptionist gets shot in the chest. Carter gets his neck snapped by Toombs. Tree dies again when she jumps off that freaking balcony and hangs herself with her neck gets broken. She goes and she comes back and kills John Toombs by shooting him 3 times. And then I think Tree dies again right after that, but I can't remember how.
She does. She eats the cupcake.
That's right. Right. And then Lori's
She
the final
finally,
death.
she was sitting there with Carter, and she woke up back in his dorm room and realized it took her a minute to realize that it was the cupcake because she never woke up from her
Yeah, that's right.
the next day. She was poisoned or whatever. So
Yeah, 'cause I think that's when she realized it's Lori, right? And then of course,
yeah,
Lori's the final
she was
death.
like, I didn't wake up,
Yeah.
or I died in my sleep. That's what it was. I died in my
Yeah.
sleep. I was like, oh man, I missed that all together.
All that realization, which is funny because I
Yeah.
totally forgot that. But again, I would try to watch this last night and then I fell asleep before I could finish it. So that's probably why I just had question marks. But yeah,
Question marks.
yeah,
Question mark,
I
question
couldn't
mark,
remember
question mark.
why. And then of course Lori gets kicked out the window, which in case you haven't grasped onto it now, Lori is the killer. She sucks.
She really does suck. I've loved it when she was like, "Eat this, bitch," or like
Yeah.
shoved the cupcake in her mouth, and she was like screaming. I was like,
That's what she get it. She deserved that. She sucked. I will say I did like the idea that how when the way it was written, and I'm not sure which writer came up with this, but like the Toombs, well, probably the original one because apparently Toombs was the name of his gym teacher. He was kind of that MacGuffin, right? Like you assume that's who it was, but then you know at the same time she had planned dependent on him, which I thought was kind of smart too. Like she had a whole plan. I mean, you hated Tree for a hot minute.
Yeah, she did.
But I love all these movies where that's the plot device because it's like, what makes you think this doctor is now going to get with you?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like,
He didn't
okay.
want you before. Why would he want you now?
Yeah. He obviously just wants to sleep with the slutty student. He obviously has no intention of ever leaving his wife. He has no intention of ever having a real relationship. He's just trying to bang a student.
Right?
Yeah,
He's
that's
a
it.
sleazeball.
Yeah. And he went for like what he considered the hottest one. She's the complete opposite of you, which says he's not going to pick you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. You're more like his wife, who obviously he doesn't like anymore.
Which she that made me sad about the wife because she knew.
Oh yeah,
she knew he was a slime ball. She was like, and hurt by it, but she's not gonna say nothing.
Yeah, you can tell the first time she meets her face, that like realization dawns on her face. That was a good job of the actress. You're like, oh dang, she knows.
Yeah, she totally knows. It's terrible.
Then you kind of get an idea who the killer is. Like I feel like they didn't even had the killer not showed up and drowned her in that fountain, she might have still thought it was the wife. You know what I mean? Like she was just watching.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of MacGuffins, which I thought was kind of cool. There's a lot of whodunit, which was an interesting add-on.
I did not think it was the serial killer guy at all. I was like, this too easy. That is too easy. There's no way that's who it is. But I didn't know who it was still. I was like, that I know that's too easy, but I don't know who it is. Because at first I kept thinking maybe it's Carter.
Oh, that'd have been wild.
Yeah, and I was like, I hope it's not Carter. And the only reason why it's not because of the fact that he's a love interest, but it also is because he was the love interest. Because I feel like that's used too many times.
Yeah, it's too
So I like
predictable.
that I like that it wasn't him. That's just what I'm saying. Like if it
Yeah.
was him, I would have been like, oh, this is lame. But it
Yeah.
wasn't. So it made it a lot better for me.
I can see that. I
So
agree. Because that would have been like, you could have done something better.
yeah,
But I think
and they did.
they did a
So
great job. I mean, I think all that Carter stuff was added. I think in the original script, it was supposed to be like a hard R film. It was gonna be much grislier deaths. It would have been totally changed. But Christopher Landon was like, nah. Apparently, he was real big into horror comedy and wanted to make something kind of funny.
she did a good job at being funny because after the pleasure dome scene, she got exponentially funnier.
Yes.
Because of the shit she'd say and like the stuff that she would do, but that I laughed so hard at that pleasure dome scene because
When
I
he
was
was
like,
dancing.
if I had walked, well, first she walks in and there's a sex doll over in the corner. She's like, oh, okay, and then
Yeah.
and then it's like the lights go down. It's like disco ball and like lights, and he's like dancing all stupid, and I was like, oh no.
I know. I was like, who thinks? Okay, he thinks that's sexy.
What did he say to her? Oh, he just said, "Welcome to the pleasure dome," and was like dancing real stupid. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, this is
Super
terrible."
lame. Super lame.
So I said, "What a dork."
I know. I just wrote lame AF is what I put down.
Yeah, this was lame. But I was like, how fitting is that she died in the pleasure dome with
Yeah.
a broken bong?
To the
I
face,
was
bro.
like-
I know, right? It just showed how dedicated Lori was. She was trying to kill everybody.
Yeah, she was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna kill all y'all.
There were so many cool nods to other movies too in this one. Like one of my favorite scenes is when she is like, I'm done trying to find who it is, and she locks herself in her room
Yeah.
and she's watching that horrible teen mom show. And she has that cool shot where she's walking to the bathroom, but you see her face in the mirror and she looks kind of like afraid. Like all that's on her face, but you don't actually see her face. It's just far off in the mirror. And then like she gets in that altercation with, the baby face killer or whatever. And it goes over the bed and then it sets straight up like Michael Myers. I thought that was pretty cool too. It was a
Yeah.
good little throwback before she gets pinned to the door with a butcher knife. But I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. Because the baby Lori just sets straight up. I was like, that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Another cool connection about this movie is that this mask, actually, the Bayfield University baby killer, was designed by Tony Gardner, who also helped design Ghostface's original mask.
Okay.
He pretty much worked on all of them, which I thought was pretty cool. And it was funny. There was two masks made. One of them was like a cartoon pig, and one of them was the baby. And apparently, the director tested it by wearing it into their office one day, and it scared a coworker, so he confirmed it. Yeah, I think he said
was
something
like,
like he was
"That's
about to
the
have a
weirdest
kid.
mask."
He's about to have his first kid and was kind of scared of parenthood too. So he's like, I'm not sure why I chose the baby, but like one of the baby is an option. I think it was more of his fear of being a father. He said, which I think was kind of interesting.
I mean, it's a legit fear, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Parenting is not for the faint of heart.
No. And then apparently they got sued because it looks very similar to King Cake Baby, which is a New Orleans Pelicans mascot. And this was filmed in New Orleans. So I guess he sued him for that. Apparently, I couldn't find out what the settlement ended up happening. I just saw that they settled out of court. So I don't really know what came from it. But the dude originally wanted like $200 million, which I think is a little crazy.
That's kind of crazy. Well, and I kept thinking it looked familiar, but you mentioned this before we got started, and it looked a lot like the baby from Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger
100%.
Rabbit, with the stogie. And I was like, that's who I thought of, because I was like, why does that look so familiar to me? But that's why I was thinking that. It also kind of it doesn't look the same at all, but it kind of reminded me of, is it just called Valentine? Where it's like it was like a cherub face mask or something.
Yeah.
That kind of reminded me of that too, a little bit.
Very similar to that one. I can see that.
It's been a million years since I've seen that movie, so
I just remember the cover. Yeah, but I think you're talking about now has that weird kind of baby cherub face. It is very similar.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool mask. I keep meaning to buy one just to like as a cheap Halloween costume or just to have, with all the other little plastic masks I have.
Well, yeah, because all you would need is like a pair of
hoodie.
sneakers, some jeans, and a hoodie. Like you're golden.
Technically, the hoodie she's wearing is quilted, but I'll just wear a black hoodie and be gold. I love this movie. I think it's hilarious. I think it was a really good film. It's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which I think is important.
Yeah.
The kill scenes are all interesting. They don't need to be grisly and brutal. They're just interesting the way she dies. I love seeing the characters, like the main character character have a redemption arc to go from like a horrible human being, having that realization. You see why she's the way she is, kind of, and you get to see her become a better person, which I think is really cool.
And you were talking about like all the nods, and the one nod, one of them what kind of reminded me of a Freddy movie, like a Nightmare on Elm Street. It was I think the fourth one where like all the dream warriors start dying, and then she
Okay.
kind of takes on their thing, and she like starts getting dressed up, and it's like a leather jacket and like a pair of like boots and like
Oh yeah,
studded stuff, and that's kind of how she was dressed in that one when
she's like,
she's
I'm
like
a
becomes a
badass.
true yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm ready to like fuck shit up. So that's what it reminded me of. I was
That's like
like, oh,
universal
okay.
movie badass. I got my leather coat on
Yeah,
and some
exactly.
boots. I'm going to fight
And they
somebody.
were
Get it?
studded boots too, buddy.
Yeah.
They were full jewels. I was like, of course you would wear
That's
those.
all she's got, bro. That's all she's
I
got.
know.
You gotta remember, she's getting dressed in a sorority house. She's like, look, man,
I know, right?
I'm looking as tough as I can coming from this place. Surprised
That
it
was
wasn't a sequin
good.
leather coat, man.
I mean,
I just
me too.
just changed the whole world in the story. Like there was just some really interesting things about it that I really really enjoyed. Yeah. Luckily too, apparently there was another original ending that I'm really glad they changed because it was received real negatively. That like Tree dies in the original ending. The doctor comes in, tells her not to take any pain medicine because of all of her injuries, and then just to wait because she's got so many injuries. Well, a nurse comes in to give her some medicine, and Tree tells her the doctor's orders, and then the nurse reveals herself to be the doctor's wife, and it says that the pain medicine's for her own pain, and then she gives it to Tree and kills her. So she ends up
Yeah,
dying in the end. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
yeah, I wouldn't have liked that. It'd have been lame.
Yeah, so I'm glad that also in the original draft, the killers were Lori and Dr. Butler. It was a
Oh, okay.
team. Yeah.
I'm also kind of glad it wasn't that either, because I feel like that would have like been more. They would have been like, it's a rip off of Scream. They would have said
Yeah.
something stupid like that
I
or
mean, it's
something.
already got a bunch of crap for being too much like Groundhog Day, but I think it was. I mean, it's not like Groundhog Day was original. You know what I mean? Like it was just good because it was a Bill Murray movie. I thought it was great. Like from a horror film standpoint, I thought it was awesome.
I mean, I told you I didn't want to watch this movie because I didn't like Groundhog Day. So when you picked this one, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this one or not. And it was basically because of that. But I ended up liking this one a lot better. So
Yeah, it's great. I am a fan.
I am too. It was really good.
The
I
second
was
one's
like,
good too. You should watch it.
I was really excited. I would have been really bummed if it had ended that way too, because I feel like that would have been too like, I don't know, not real. I don't know what the word is. I think that's stupid when the wife gets mad at the other person when you should really be mad at your husband.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Like
especially
I
in that
know,
situation.
yeah, I'm like especially when they're young like that too. Like I'm not letting her off the hook at all. She knew exactly what she was doing, but like at the same time, it's like the one you made a commitment to is the one you should be really pissed off at.
Well, also, he kind of preyed on her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you can say what you want about her character. She's still a college student, and he's like an adult
yeah.
professor. He kind of preyed on her.
Yeah, and he also was like, "Well, if you break this," he pretty much said, "If you break this off, you're not going to coast my class anymore." And she goes, "I already dropped it." I was like, "Yeah, so good." And he's just standing there all sad. I'm like, I still be. He's not gonna be sad for long. He's gonna find somebody else to mess
He'll
with.
find him a
So.
new little underclassman to be like, "Oh, hey, girl."
Yeah,
Obviously,
gross.
either that or there'll
Yep.
be in part two. His wife should have been revealed that his wife killed him because that's who she should have
Right.
killed. Hey, you're gonna
Right.
die,
You're gonna die, bitch.
piece of shit.
Right.
But yeah, no, I love that. Let's see here. Anything else I want to add before I get into this stuff? Yeah, no, like I said, I like it. I like the idea of the baby mask. It's
Yeah.
creepy and weird. I think the mascot of the Bayfield University baby, which I think is silly, but I think it comes from the fact that it sounds good with Bayfield, and also
Yeah.
it's creepy. He was scared of babies at the time, so go for it.
Well, and the mask was creepy.
It really was. I wouldn't want that thing staring at me anywhere.
With its one tooth. No,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that coming at me from the
Right.
rape tunnel.
The rape tunnel. You wouldn't have caught me dead. Like, there's no way. If I had come down there and it was all looked like that, and that little music box there, I'd be like, nope, peace out, y'all.
Yeah, I'm running the other direction. I'm gonna go find that group
Yeah,
of
I'm
frat
running.
boys.
Take them little stripper shoes off and take off running. Because nope, no thank you.
She probably would have ran in him. You know, she's a pro. She's an old pro at this
Right.
point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you want to get into the rubric?
Sure.
All right. So, literary element, the script, story development, dialogue, and character development.
I mean, we kind of already touched on it a lot, really, because
Yeah.
she was a really well written character, and like I said, I hated her at the beginning and I really liked her at the end. I thought she was hilarious. I liked Carter. And all the other people. It was just funny just to see them react to her
Yeah.
because
Her,
they
Danielle.
yeah. Yeah, so I thought the writing was really well done. I thought the her little quippy remarks that she had and sarcastic attitude was great. So
Yeah, she definitely reminded me of like a couple students we have.
yeah, yep.
Like my 6th period aide reminds me of her a lot.
Yeah. That's who I was thinking of too. It's a first person.
Yeah.
And I also have this student. She is in my 2nd period.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
heck,
love her
whatever.
to death, but she drives me crazy.
No,
In a good way though.
she's the best, but she's very much like Tree in the middle
Yes, she is.
of her development.
If she listened to this, she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, y'all are the worst."
I know she come in all mad, but she doesn't listen, so whatever.
We'll still tell her like whatever.
I'll tell her like I might tell her I was talking about you on my podcast, so she will listen and be like, "Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I hear us laughing at her. She'll be like,
Uh-huh.
"You're mean."
So what do you think? 20, 25? I mean, I think it was good. Like you said, you feel bad for Lori from the start, and then you realize quickly that you should not. Tree
No.
has you hate her, and then she grows on you, and then you like her. Carter's a really well-meaning guy. His roommate is funny. That whole "Get that fine vagina," and then his face is like, God, why I say that every time? And it's awesome. Like, ugh.
He's like, "You're such a dickhead."
Yeah.
It's
Danielle
so funny.
sucks so much, and then when she gets hit by a bus, she's like, "Yes, you deserve that." But it's her character, so it's perfect. I thought it was great. So yeah, I think it was written very well. I like the changes Landon made. He took that original idea, and I think he made it better.
I honestly would give it a 25. And the only
Okay.
reason why is because I don't think there was a lot of plot hole. There wasn't any plot holes. Like it's not everything was wrapped up. You knew why everything was happening. The mystery was there, the character development was there, and the dialogue was really good.
Yeah, and
So,
like they even go into her backstory. Like I forgot to even mention that.
yeah.
Like her mom and them sharing a birthday, so why she hates her
Yeah.
birthday. Her mom had passed, and she's avoiding her dad. So you not
And
only
they
get to
didn't
see
dwell
her.
on it. They
No,
didn't dwell on it too long, and it was just enough to be enough for the story. It
Yeah.
wasn't like overkill, which
Just
I liked
bang,
that
bang,
too.
bang. It's like, here you go. You get a full redemption. Not only does she become a better person, she reconciles with her dad. She comes to terms with the loss of her mom. She finds a new love interest that is nowhere near what she would have looked at the first time. Right?
No, and
She's
she also mentions that her mom would not be proud of the person she was,
yeah,
or
like
wouldn't recognize
she
her
has a lot of
because
growth in just an
yeah.
hour and a half movie, which I'm a
Mhm.
fan of. All right, cool. So the FX design elements. So visual effects elements that connect to the narrative, set design, overall character design, gore, practical versus digital effects. I like the set design, but it's supposed to be a college campus, so it is on a college campus. It's in like
Mhm.
I cannot ever pronounce this college. It's Loyola. Sorry, it's in Louisiana, so it's like a legit campus. They had a permit to film there, and then most of the kids leave. But so that looks great. I think I like some of the stuff you do see with her being killed. It's not too graphic, but it doesn't look fake or real crappy. I wouldn't go
No.
full 25, I don't think, for this one. I mean, because they didn't really design hardly a lot of sets. Most of this stuff is on a college campus. Like that was a legit sorority house they filmed in. Those are legit
Yeah, and
buildings.
there was a dorm too,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, they
I'm
had
sure.
permits to film there. Actually, their permit ran out for the final scene. They had to shoot someplace else where she was kicked out the window. That's not actually filmed in the dorm or in the sorority house because they didn't have the rights to film there anymore. I mean, it has a good aesthetic though, so I wouldn't go low. I do think it
Mhm.
like it kind of, and some of the visual elements look cool. I like the mask. It's creepy. It's weird. What do you think? Like a 20 maybe?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I mean, he's a basic killer, but you don't need a lot, right? Like
No.
everybody's always like, oh, it wasn't very intricate. Michael Myers is a dude with one mask on and a jumpsuit, right? You know what I mean? Like
Right?
Jason Voorhees is the exact same jumpsuit with a different mask on. Scream is wearing a
Exactly.
robe with a ghost face. You know what I mean? So I think that simplicity is what makes it A, iconic, and B, creepy, right? If you're in there in like a
Mhm.
full costume with all this like trinkets and nonsense, like that's weird. You know, I'm not scared of that. Other than like clowns, like art is creepy, but you know, so Cool. All right. Next element here, the visual technical element. So the overall aesthetic of the film is pleasing to the eye, lighting, creative camera shots, and movement and lens selection. I really like the camera work in this. I think it's cool. Like you mentioned, that really cool scene where she's like hits in the head and she just falls straight to the bed. And some of that's from editing, but I think that goes in with the visual element. It looks clean and polished for
Yeah.
like a horror movie, which I like. So yeah, what do you think?
I don't know, because I like how they shot the movie. I don't really think that there's anything lacking,
No,
but
I don't
also I
either.
don't have that. I don't feel like I have that eye essentially like when. Because a lot of times you'll bring up stuff that I won't even register with, so
Yeah.
honestly would be fine with whatever. Like I just feel like they did a good job on it, so I'd be fine with a 20 or a 25. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the 20. I think like there's some of it
okay,
could have been cool. Like I like it a lot. All right, this is
okay.
your favorite element, the sound element.
There's aspects of it that were really well done, but I wouldn't say that it was like anything that stood out like crazy other than the ringtone that she wakes up to every morning.
Really, I thought it has
Um,
some great stuff in it.
I just didn't pick up on a lot of it. Like it's not I feel like I picked up more on like, just her waking up every morning and like hearing that same ringtone and hearing the same ringtone all day. I don't remember the songs that were playing at the parties. Like I don't like it, none of that stood out to me. So this one wouldn't score as high, but I don't think it should score super low either. Like I would be a middle of the road on this one.
Like I think some of the tension scenes had some really good use of music, and I'm a little partial because I love Bear McCreary, and that's who did it. He's like the composer for this, and I love him. Like
Mhm.
he did Knights of Badassdom, and like it's one of my favorite movies ever. But like I think like when you get in, like I think for me it scores a little bit higher just because of like how he approached it. So like essentially he wanted energetic theme for like Tree with all the pop music, and then one for the killer that's like distorted vocals that he used his own daughter. The percussion is mostly sampled from college marching band drum lines to make you feel like you're in a college setting. There's just a
Mhm.
lot of like thought that went into it. I mean, I would definitely wouldn't go like 25. Maybe I'd go like a 15. I don't think it's
That's what
bad. I think it's good. It's just not
I didn't
spectacular.
yeah, I don't think it's bad. I don't feel like it's not what stands out the most to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's just the ringtone, the only thing you remember from it. But there
Yeah, because I
are,
was focused on a lot more other things than I was the music on this.
yeah.
So
I
or
think
the
because
sound in general.
while I was paying attention to some of the scenes of things I enjoyed, like back to that scene in her dorm room, that tension of her walking to the bathroom to see, like you feel it building up. It was done really well if you pay attention
Mhm.
to it. I was watching that because I like that scene, but it's there, and like I said again, I just love Bear McCreary. I think he does a good job.
It would be more of like I'd have to watch it multiple times to pick up on that
Yeah,
kind of
of
stuff
course.
because I was not particularly because when you watch certain movies, the music and the sound are very apparent, whereas this one's more subtle. So I didn't notice it as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not that it was bad at all. That's why I wouldn't score this super low. But I wouldn't score it at super high either. I'm like I said, I'm in the middle of the road, kind of.
So it gets an 80.
Okay.
Hmm, not bad, decent.
Mm-mm.
B, I like that. I'll take it. 80's a B, right? Yeah, B's a B.
Yes.
I don't give many of those out, so it's rare for me. I have to go up that high.
My grade book's looking rough right
Yeah,
now, so
there's a lot of red in my
uh,
grade book, man. A lot of
so
red.
senioritis is definitely set in.
Oh,
So
dude, mine's from missing all that time. Like, I'm pretty hard about sub work. If you don't do it, it's just a zero. That's it.
right,
I wasn't here. I gave you something not hard, and you chose not to do it. That's a zero.
that's a zero exactly.
All right,
I don't know
guys.
why they do that.
Because they're
It's
lazy.
like
They think sub day, they're just lazy.
they're like, "Ooh, sub, I don't do nothing." False. I did not create these, so you would do them.
That's
So
what I'm
you best
saying.
get a
I didn't make
10.
it for my own health, jerks. Get your work done. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. Happy Death Day. I think it's great. It's a B. It's A in my heart. I love it. It's one of my favorite newer horror movies, I think. I also like Freaky. I really like anything this guy does. I think he's got a good eye for horror comedy, especially. Does a really good job. Part 2 is also really good for that modern, high school, college era. It does way better than something like how Urban Legend did with trying to portray college. It was like, meh. All these characters
Yeah,
are believable as college students. None of them look like they're 40. You know what I
you're
mean?
right.
Like they
They
look like
all look
college
like
students.
they look like they're supposed to be there.
That's what I'm saying. Like we talked about in that episode, some of those people looked like they were old as F. Like, why are you in this movie playing a child? You're like
Right?
200. Now, granted, she's not, I mean, she's
You're like
35,
200.
but she doesn't look 35 at all. So she's
No, she
believable.
doesn't.
Unlike the main characters in Urban Legend who look 42, but whatever. Like Tara Reid looks like she has lived a rough life. They're probably closer to the same age. But anyway, great film. I definitely suggest you check it out. Watch them both. Let us know what you think. Hit us up, respond, tell us if you hate it, if you love it. Of course, this is our first episode in April, right? We skipped spring break, so sorry if you missed us.
Yes.
We're back now, but teachers need breaks too.
Yes, my goodness.
Plus, I'm going out of the country, so I really can't record and update from another country on a boat. So sorry, guys, but we're back, so you're welcome.
You are welcome.
You are welcome. Do you want to tell them about the book we're reading this month? Since it's our first April episode, we got a new book.
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, you got me off. Let me get it real quick.
So while she's getting that book, just to kind of key you guys in, we're really trying to focus on creative females, either behind the camera, in front of the camera, female writer, like just really focusing on females. I know like last month was National Women's Month or something, but really we should celebrate women all the time. So we thought we would get right into it.
Okay, so the book for this month is What Moves the Dead, and it's by T. Kingfisher. It is a retelling of the fall of the House of Usher. So I was really excited to read it, and it's fairly short. So if you're not much of a reader,
Like me.
and you like Edgar Allan Poe, because this is inspired by him, this is probably a good read for you because it really wouldn't take long. And I think, didn't you say the audiobook's like 5 hours?
Yeah, it's like it's barely over 5 hours. I think 5 hours 19 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, it's not long. It's a very small book. It's easy. It's probably like, if you like to read, it probably wouldn't take you long to read. But if you don't like to read, it wouldn't take you more than a week, I would think.
Stellar. So yeah, guys,
Finish it.
jump on that. Let us know what you think. Yeah. And as always, we do have merch. So if you want to support us and help us out, buy a t-shirt or a hoodie or a mug.
Or a coffee mug.
Yeah. And post yourself wearing it, tag it. We'll share it on our page. We'll give you a shout out. We love our fans. Our one fan. We love them. They're awesome.
Oh, and we have a Patreon.
Heck yeah.
If you want to donate to some teachers who need some, help paying for things, podcast related. So any help's appreciated.
Or you just like it and want to support us, we appreciate that too.
Yeah, and even if you can't do those things, just sharing our podcast out and rating us and giving us reviews would be amazing. So
yeah, just interact. Tell us what you think. I want to hear people's opinions. If you don't like it, oh well. But I will appreciate your opinion.
Well.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. I'm not going to be like whatever, but it's cool. Again, we do have one Patreon follower, so another shout out to my little brother again. Thanks, Billy. My brother is supportive. He's a good guy. So yeah, there you go, guys. Happy Death Day. Great movie. 80% on the old Rubric. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And Jenny, you want to tell them where they can find us?
Yes, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Horror in the Halls. You can also follow Jenny_Dreadfuls on Instagram. You can email us at horrorinthehalls@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Heck yeah, we would, guys. Hit us up. Let us know. So, all right. Looks like that is going to be the bell. So we're going to get out of here. We'll see you next week.
Bye.